Alright guys, now obviously Aston Villa over the weekend sacked their manager Dean Smith after a poor run of results, including, well, it was 5 defeats in a row really. And the thing was, before those defeats, it was a reasonable start to the season from Aston Villa. They were 8th in the table at one point, I think, and had some good results at the start of the season. Including a win away at Old Trafford to Man United. But recently, obviously, the 5 defeats, it's not good enough. But I still think that Dean Smith should not have been sacked, because when you look at the job that he did for Aston Villa, when he came in, they were in their third year in the champ. I've got a bit of a weird throat today. They were in their third year in the Championship in 2018-19. Steve Bruce had just been sacked, and they were languishing I think they were in the lower half of the table at that point. And Dean Smith took over and managed to take them from mid-table to a promotion place. And they managed to go up through the playoffs, beating Derby County in the final. Now, don't get me wrong, in the entire time that Dean Smith's been there up until this season, Jack Grealish has obviously been Villa's best player consistently, probably every season. And they lost him this summer for 100 million. And the money they've spent this summer, the Grealish money, we'll refer to it as, they haven't spent it greatly, or maybe not they haven't spent it greatly, but the signings they spent it on haven't hit the ground running just yet. Danny Ings has been all right. He's sort of done what's expected of him. He's got a few goals. Leon Bailey spent more time on the treatment table so far than actually on the pitch. And Emi Buendia, I think you can put a little bit of blame on Dean Smith for Buendia, because partly he has been played a bit out of position at times. Like they went through a period where it was like they played a 5-3-2 formation, where it was Ings and Watkins up front and a back three with Cash and Target as wing backs. And Buendia usually played on the right side of a midfield three, which isn't his position really. He's a number 10. That's where he's played best for Norwich last season, and in the Premier League the year before. So I think you can give him a bit of blame for Buendia not being as good as Villa fans might have hoped. But with Leon Bailey, I think he was the most expensive out of all three. I think that's more down to just bad luck with injuries, more than anything. And also defensively, Villa haven't been as strong as they were last season. And to be honest, I'll be honest, I'm not Tyrone Mings' biggest fan. I don't think he's that great a defender, and it baffles me why Southgate consistently picks him for England when he's got better options at centre-back. Obviously, Harry Maguire and John Stones, they're his two starters for England. They go. And ideally you take two other centre-backs, or maybe three. And for me, the three centre-backs should be Ezri Konsa. I'm a big fan of Ezri Konsa. I think he's the better centre-back for Villa than Tyrone Mings. Ezri Konsa. Ben White, based on current form, he's been brilliant recently. And the reason I wouldn't take Connor Cody is because I think Connor Cody is very much suited to a back three, because he hasn't quite got the pace to be as good in a back four. He's one of those defenders who's a lot better in a back three than a back four, similar to David Luiz or Antonio Rudiger more recently. We've seen that with him. But yeah, Villa. And the other thing for Villa is they're having to learn, like this at this stage in the season, what works, because Grealish was like their main creative player. Most things attacking wise went through him. So when you take that out, it's going to be very tough to replace it. I know I always take a lot of things back to Liverpool because I'm a Liverpool fan, but it's a bit similar. It seems similar to me to when in the 2014-15 season for Liverpool, Liverpool had just lost Luis Suarez to Barcelona, and the year before, pretty much everything went through Luis Suarez. Like his goal and assist numbers were in the late 40s that season, and he pretty much everything went through him. So the minute you take him out of the team, and also you have like injuries consistently that season to Daniel Sturridge, you struggle because you don't know what to do. And Liverpool went from finishing second to finishing sixth that season, and also went out in the Champions League at the group stage, in a group that had Luda, Goretz and Bale in it, also Real Madrid. But you still expect to go through in that group. And where was I with Villa? Yeah, defensively they haven't been as good this season. Midfield I don't think's been as good either. John McGinn I quite like as a player. I think he's a good midfielder, but also they've struggled to consistently play like the player who's in the centre of midfield. McGinn usually plays on the left of midfield, not left midfielder, but the left of the centre. Like I'm talking the central, like Marvelous Nakamba or Douglas Luiz. They haven't got a consistently performing player in that position, which I think's a problem for Villa. And a lot of people are saying Ollie Watkins isn't scoring the goals he was scoring last season. He hasn't really had the service, and I don't think Watkins has been that bad whenever I've watched him. But I think the main problem is they've had Grealish ripped out of the team, and it's going to take time to work out how to like play without him, because they've been quite reliant on his goal and assists in the past seasons. Like obviously, it goes without saying really that had Grealish not played for Villa in 2019-20, I think Villa definitely would have got relegated that season. I think most Villa fans will admit that as well. Last season, I think they'd have stayed up without Grealish, but like they were playing well last season, Villa. But yeah, I think it was a mistake sacking Dean Smith, because I don't think the manager who comes in will do any better than what Dean Smith has been doing at Villa. And at the moment, it looks like Steven Gerrard's the favourite to replace Dean Smith. As a Liverpool fan, I'd be quite happy to see that move, because I want to see what Steven Gerrard can do as a manager in the Premier League. And at Aston Villa, they've got a good squad, so I think he can potentially do well. And I think Dean Smith would have turned it round eventually. I think once he's got through this bad run of form and he finds a way to start playing, I think Villa probably get mid-table position again this year, but it's something to improve on, isn't it? But anyway, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.